Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I have another page for you, and I'm going to be using the front row February kit. The last video I did, I said block party again. I think I did too many videos using the block party, but it is the front row, and I do have the main kit and all 4 add-ons, the big screen, popcorn, matinee, and junior mints. And I just showed you a lot of the things that I might be using, and I did pick out 2 of the Studio Calico papers. The first one is called Moon Bow, and the second one I think is just from Tim and Beck. And I'm just looking for some mist that I want to use. I want to start using more my masks and my mist. A little later on in the video, I'm going to show you how many masks I have. About a year ago, I went on a mask shopping bin and bought all kinds of them. So I think it's time for me to start using them. So this mask here is from Studio Calico, and I'm using the mist called Sunset. And so I'm just going in 3 different locations and misting. And we actually went to the American Museum of Natural History, and so these pictures are from there. And here I'm just showing you all the masks that I have. And the pictures I'm doing is all of us standing on this thing that would weigh you. Just, it was in the floor, and how much you would weigh if you were on a red giant star. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing so that it would have the illusion of, you know, the atmosphere and little planets, or that's what I was thinking when I was doing it. And there's 3 photos, and there's 2 4x6 vertical and 2 landscape, and I want them to be in all one block. And for some reason, one of the stores where I bring my photos, they're not true 4x6, and I have to say it really annoys me. Like, you know, if I cut the 2 top ones at 3 inches, then the bottom one it should fit, but it's not. It's like 5 7/8. And I know, to, you know, anyone that's not a scrapbooker, it's not a big deal, but for us scrapbookers, you know, that is a big deal. So anyway, then I'm trying to find something that I'm going to mat my photos on, because I want the 3 of them together. And I went through the cardstock that I had either gotten with the kit or the extras that you could get that match the kit. And I'm going to mat the photos. And then I'm going to start using that pattern paper that I had taken out. I actually had taken out a 3rd one, but it just didn't work for me. So I always look at the second side of the paper, because you never know what I might like. So at first I think I was going to use the other side, and then I decide on the grid. And then I am going to change it again here in a little bit. On the camera right now, it is standing out quite a bit, but in person, that grid and the yellow paper didn't stand out that much. It just seemed like it was blending in too much, so I do end up changing it. Because my whole purpose for the grid was to use it for journaling, and the way it is now, I can't use it for journaling. So I'm just kind of thinking of what I might do. Whenever I start a page, I really don't have a plan as far as what I'm going to do. I just, as you saw in my process video, I do have the pattern papers that coordinate together, that I do have, and then I start piling from there, and then I just go through my stuff and gather up a whole bunch of supplies that kind of go together, and then I just, start cutting. So this is the point that I found, well, no, I won't be able to journal on that, so I'm gonna flip it over and just use a little piece of that journaling grid. I think at first I think about making, cutting a bigger piece of that journaling paper, but I decide of not cutting in any more into my paper. And I did use that little Tim and Beck paper for a strip at the top and the bottom, and then I did cut squares out and I put at the top left and bottom right. And then now I start going through my stuff, and that I had taken out the wood veneers, and I put a little doily on each side, and that was just leftover doily. And now I'm going to look for some labels that I can add in there to add some blue, because there is a lot of yellow. And I love these little potty people. Whenever I can add potty people, I do. They're just so cute. And then I take out some stars. Some were from the kit, and some were from Studio Calico. The bigger stars were from the kit, and the little ones were from Studio Calico. And I decided on cutting 2 of those labels, and these were from the January kit. But I do keep my stuff around for a few months just to make sure that I get the most, of all the supplies that I do get. And I have to tell you, I think I have a couple more scrapbook haul videos, because I had ordered, I think one should be coming in today, and then I want to do my Studio Calico. But I did join a Facebook group, and it is to complete 50 projects before you shop again. And for me, it's going to be 50 pages, because I don't do cards, and I do 3D projects, but I've kind of put that on the back burner for a little while until we move into the house, until I have more room. So it's going to be 50 pages. So depending on how fast I feel like I need to order new stuff, I might be cranking out quite a few pages in the next little bit. So now I'm looking at the alphabet and the letter stickers, and I really had no idea what I was going to call, the title for this page was going to be. And then as I was looking at it, because on the red giant star, if we live there, I would weigh 39 pounds. 39 pounds, people. I mean, hello. I think I would love that planet. And so my kids, they also got on, and my son would weigh 28 pounds and my daughter would weigh 36 pounds. And so anyway, we just thought it was quite cute. And then there was another one that you could go on, and I didn't like that one at all, because it was like, I don't know, 1,500 pounds or something. Like, it was ridiculous. And so I like this one way better. So then that's when I thought of light as a feather. So I took some of the thickers that we had gotten last kit, I believe, in January. And then I went through some of the inks that I had, and I decided on the Jenny Bolin inks, and I did use the darker blue. It's called Spice Tin. And I didn't have any more feathers in wood veneer. I couldn't find them anyway if I did, or I would have used them to use up what I had. So I did go into my stash and got the Studio Calico, and they're like a material. And at first I'm going to color them in with a different color. Speckled egg. And once I try to put them on the page, I really don't like them. So I do end up coloring them in, only because there was just too many. I think if I would have stopped right there, I would have liked it. It was just too teal. So I do end up changing the color and doing the spice tin, and then I only end up using one of them. So at this point I decide, okay, I got to start gluing everything down. And when I cut my paper in half like that, what I do is I have one of those Making Memories ruler. I believe it's Making Memories. No, it's Basic Gray. And it's the one that goes with, actually the mat that I have on my desk. It's magnetized. Everything's magnetized. So it goes with that. And then I use it to make sure that everything is straight. And at this point, I find that my cluster of photos is just too big. So I take about half an inch off to 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to make that whole cluster a little smaller. And it did end up tearing the bottom of the cardstock a little bit. But once it's on the page, you don't really notice. And I don't usually worry about stuff like that, because there's just so much going on the page that you wouldn't see that anyway. So I'm going to keep gluing things down, and I'm just trying to find a spot for those little yellow stripe from Tim and Beck. And then I'm going to glue my cluster of photos down. And I do end up taking away the yellow grit paper to the right side, because I am going to use it for journaling. So I figured, just on one side and journal there, and it would look kind of funny if the other side didn't have any journaling on it. So now I'm gluing down the doilies that I chose, and then I'm going to glue down my strips at the bottom and at the top. And I had just taken out a bunch of little stars from Studio Calico. Now I'm going to find a spot for my little potty people. I think I'm going to put them right there on the doily. And we had gotten those arrow, I don't really know what they are, geotag pointing things. I'm really not sure what they are, but they're kind of cute. So I think I'm going to use it on this page. Can't remember if I leave it there or I move it. I'm not narrating with the page right in front of me. So, and regardless if I just did the page yesterday, I still don't remember. So now I'm going to start gluing everything down, and I decide on using one of those little labels just to kind of, again, add some blue, because there was a lot of yellow on the page. And then one of those speech bubbles that we had gotten from Freckle Fond, I believe, in this month's kit. And that washi tape. I mean, I used it with my January kit also, because I just love this tape. And I mean, the roll is so huge, I knew there was no way I was going to use it all in January. Even if I used it on every single page, I probably could use it on every single page for the next 2 years and still have some left over. So I did put it in 3 different little clusters. I put the tape, and then I finally used some of those arrows from this again was from the January kit. And I mean, I love it. I take it out for every single layout, and I just can't seem to stick it on the page. So there I did. I just put the arrows pointing at that's going to be pointing at my journaling. And this is where I think, no, these feathers are just too tealy for the other blues on my page. And then the next dilemma is going to be, where am I going to put the title? Because that cluster of photo is pretty big. And so while I'm thinking about where I could put it, and it's not a small title too, like the word feather is a pretty big word, so I really didn't know where where I was going to put it, and I'm just kind of trying to put some stars just randomly on the page. And then I'm going to start working on the top cluster. And there too, I'm just going to put a few stars just randomly. And then I'm going to start gluing down my twine. And I love using the American Craft this to that, and it is the dot one. I'm really liking how it's working on the twine compared to what I was using before. And now I'm going to keep putting the twine to every cluster. I just like the twine to add a different texture to the page. It adds movement. And to tell you the truth, I have so much twine, I just feel like, I should be using it. Another thing that I should be using more of is my ribbon. I must have, I don't even know how much ribbon I have. I have so much ribbon, and maybe that should be, something else that I say that I need to put, maybe a page with ribbon and a page with twine or something to try to use them up. But where I joined that Facebook group, and I'm going to be doing 50, for me it won't be 50 projects, it'll be 50 scrapbook pages. And so maybe I'll try to use different things, on my pages. So finally I decide that there's such a big gap in between my photos. And I mean, it's just the floor, because it was on the floor that we had to step on. So I decided to put the title right there in between the two things of photos, so that it would take away some of that blank space. And the title again is Light as a Feather. So I'm going to add those on there. And again, I have a digital camera, so I'm not too worried about sticking stuff on my photos or anything, because I know that, I can reprint them anytime. So at this point, I'm just doing my little bit of journaling. It's basically just what I would call silly journaling, but journaling nonetheless. And then I'm gonna look it over and see what I feel is missing. And at this point, I decide I want more spray. And I'm going to cut down a piece of one of the paper bags from Studio Calico, and I'm cover my photos. And I use a yellow and a teal to ink up my photos. And the page is done. And I do have a few close-ups at the end. And if you haven't already, check out my YouTube channel, and I announced the winner of my challenge. So thanks to everyone that participated, and thanks for watching. Bye.